Hi friends! Last November, after our Japan craft tour, my husband and I took a trip to Mino, which is in Gifu Prefecture. Mino is a town that is renowned for its paper making, and the entire town, especially the historic district, is all about paper and the lanterns and other products that are made with washi paper. We went to Mino to see if we could incorporate the paper making experience in our Japan craft tour. The video you're about to see is a paper making experience at a paper museum on the outskirts of Mino. It was a lot of fun, as you shall see.
的なこの職人さんの動き体験してもらえる方になっています。3種類紙があって、そこから1種類選んでもらいます。1つ目が美濃紙です。1枚すいてもらって飾りを乗せて剥がし。
So before the class even starts, you have to choose the type of paper you want to make and the decoration that you want on it. So she's showing me here that this is plain paper with either cutouts, or you can do a textured paper again with either maple or colorful cutouts, or even this has a lot of texture to it. It was a lot of fun, as you shall see, and I have to say how thankful I am to the museum for squeezing us in. We arrived at Mino later in the afternoon after the museum had closed, and we actually did not know that that museum existed. So when we learned that they offered a paper making experience, we just showed up first thing the following morning. Did have a group scheduled for later in the morning, so they squeezed me in, which I really, really appreciate, being able to participate in that way. So I hope you enjoyed the video and hit like and subscribe for more content like this. She also explains that this particular style takes a lot of precision because, for example, those rabbits, the water doesn't actually touch them as you're making the paper.
紙です。これ型は4つまで使えますね。
I want to do これにする。
みんなが模様がない紙ですね。色紙でいいですか？はい、ありがとうございます。ではここからですね、形を5個まで好きなものを選んでこのカップに入れてください。
Oh my god, this is so much harder than I thought it would be. This is really set up for classroom learning, so that's why they limit it to 5 cutouts. Let's see, so I'm going to be making some paper, and I had my choices of a long sheet of paper, sort of legal size, or to do some postcards. The postcards, because they're a little thicker, take a lot longer, and they've got some elementary school students coming in, so we didn't have that amount of time. They squeezed me into this workshop, which I really, really appreciate. So I'm going to be doing the longer piece of paper. I've chosen my paper to be a plain paper, to not have a pattern on it, but I also chose to have some cutout shapes that are translucent through the paper. So they spread out all these sheets. I think they work with a lot of children here because there's like Mickey Mouse and hearts and butterflies and frogs. The frogs are super cute. And then I needed to pick 5 of the shapes, and I might pick a blue shape. No, I think I'm going to stick with the green. Oh, this is hard. They're all slightly different colors. Is that the same? No, that's different. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 shapes. I've got 3 flowers and 2 leaves. はい、決まりました。ありがとうございます。At this point, they want to know what I want to wear so that my clothing doesn't get wet or dirty. And if it seems like they're in a little bit of a rush, they are. Again, they squeezed me in here, and they do have a group of elementary school students coming soon. These are the pulp baths that are being set up so that you can make the paper. So this is the first time that I've done this and the first time that I've seen this in person. Instructor is showing me the frame and the porous base that I will be using to make the paper, and she lays that in the frame and snaps it down, and now she's going to show me how to manipulate that frame with the pulp mixture. The first part of the process involves putting the tray into the mixture at a very vertical position and pulling it towards you, swishing the mixture towards you and away from you, and making sure that the excess leaves the frame. After going towards you and away from you at that really intense angle, you are then going to go back and forth at a much more gentle angle, and then you make sure that you drop the excess away from you, and again you start again with that deep angle, going back and forth, and then to the right and left. After doing this a few times, away from you and towards you, away from you and towards you, away from you and towards you, and then right, left, right, left, right, left, you do that about 3 or 4 times, and you can really see the sheen of the paper starting to form. The instructor showed me what happens if you don't use this severe 90-degree angle when you're making your paper. If you go in at a gentler slope, the pulp does not adhere to the edges of the frame, and your paper is therefore ruined. Part of what makes this paper is this root that is crushed and soaked, and the liquid that results is really, really viscous, and that is added to the pulp to help create the paper. Now it's my turn, but of course I start off incorrectly. This was sort of humiliating. I consider myself to be a pretty quick learner, but you can see just how hands-on the instructor had to be with my process. I made a mistake. I did it bad. This is a lot harder than it looks. Whew. So, if at first you don't succeed, try again. This instructor had so much patience for me. So here we go, and now I'm going to do it correctly. So here we go, my second try, and again, she's being really hands-on, but I'm doing it a little bit better than the first time. Part of my awkwardness stems from how surprisingly heavy this whole motion is. The viscous pulp mixture plus the heavy tray makes this more awkward than you would imagine. At this point, the instructor lays out my paper on this tray. It's actually a rack that will go into the oven to dry the paper. So she carefully peels away the base, and now it's my turn to put the shapes that I picked out on this paper anywhere I choose. Of course, I take my own sweet time trying to figure out where to put these 5 little shapes. In the meanwhile, the instructor quickly makes a second sheet of paper that is going to lay over this one. You can see her here in the background, just quickly making that second sheet of paper. She's really good at this. So right here, she has made a second sheet of paper, and she is laying this precisely on top of the sheet that I made. And then once the two of them are together, we are going to go to the drying rack. At this point, my paper is done, but it does need to dry, and before it can go into the oven or the kiln, it needs to have its moisture, as much moisture taken out as possible. So this is like a moisture sucking machine. The air is being pulled from this drying rack, and she's showing me how I want to move it over the mechanism so that the paper gets as dry as possible before it goes into the oven. So that's the second pass, and then I do one more pass. And you can really see how much moisture gets sucked out of that paper. The paper looks really white right now. The instructor shows me by picking up the corners of the paper that it's really, really close to being done. Feels like paper. My paper then goes into this oven to further dry out for about 30 more minutes.
Okay, what's in your mind?
Okay, so that was so much harder than I thought it was going to be, and a lot more delicate. I mean, I know that the paper is delicate, it's paper, but the process of making sure you get that mixture evenly spread over the frame takes a lot more strength and precision than it looks like when I've seen videos of this. So it's not light. It's that liquid is sort of gummy, so it really worked out. So here is the paper I made at Mino's museum. The little cutout pieces really fade in the oven, and I love how translucent this whole thing is. So again, I really, really enjoyed this experience, and I'm really, really thankful I got to do this on such short notice. And again, thank you to the museum for allowing me to do that. I encourage you, if you're in Japan, to try paper making. It will surprise you how sort of persnickety and a little bit fussy it is to make it, but it's very, very rewarding. You do not have to go all the way to Mino. If you get to Mino, I think you would really enjoy it. It's a beautiful town with this lovely historic district. But if you're sticking around Tokyo or Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, you are certain to find paper making workshops in those cities, and more than likely the instructors teaching those workshops will also speak English. In Mino, they did not. It is a smaller city on the outskirts of Gifu Prefecture. So if you have the chance, I encourage you to visit Papermaking Experience while you're in Japan. Thank you so much for watching, and again, hit like and subscribe for more content like this. I forgot to mention that we will be offering our Japan Craft Tour in February this year, February 25th through March 5th, and we will be having a second trip in November as usual, but registration is now open for our February trip. So if you're able to join us, I can't wait to see you. Thank you.